Do you believe this is a school? All the walls are covered in graffiti. Students are dressed like gypsies. Fights break out frequently. A female student was also directly assaulted by her friends. The teachers have no way to protect their students. Students also blatantly sold drugs in the school. Some go to school carrying guns for defense. A teacher was beaten to the point of hospitalization. The school is always in chaos. The rate of passing the 4 basic skills tests is 38%. The state says it must reach 75% for the school to remain open. The school board went to the educational inspector to ask who could fix it. The inspector said, "Clark? He is a bizarre person. People call him crazy." 20 years ago, this high school was still very good. Its decline began after the mayor implemented a new management plan. The principal, Joe Clark, stood on the table to argue with the mayor. At the same time, he accused leaders of corruption. After this, Clark was sent to an elementary school. To save the high school, the board invited Clark to return. Inspectors came to Clark to explain the cause. Over the years, Clark's work and marriage have been unstable. He had no place to realize his ideal. He felt that this was a good opportunity and immediately agreed. When he returned to the school he had left 20 years ago and looked at the paintings covering the walls, he saw a very bad school. The teachers in the school were eagerly waiting for him to speak, but Clark did not mince words. A teacher below opened his mouth and spoke nonstop. Clark immediately cut the opponent off loudly. "If you really had talent, I wouldn't have appeared here today. From now on, this is my meeting. Anyone cannot speak without permission." Then he arranged work according to each person's characteristics. The first thing to do was to write down the names of the problem students. The workers must clean the walls as quickly as possible. He also recruited more security guards to ensure safety for students and the school. "All people here, if anyone does not submit, may immediately leave and not be kept." Then Clark officially started the reform. He organized an assembly for all students. He made these troubled children stand on stage. Everyone had cigarettes in their mouths. In the audience, students were laughing and fighting. Although Clark asked the students to be silent, they were like deaf ducks, not afraid of guns. They also made the place a battlefield. So they were all expelled today and are never to return to this school again. After saying that, he asked security to escort them out. Then he told the students below, "If you do not study carefully, maybe the next to be chased out will be you. At this time, order will return." Before establishing this school, this place was just a body. This school died, but its soul remains. If your life is not successful, then don't blame your parents or anyone. Blame yourself. It is because you are irresponsible. You come here for only one purpose. It is learning. For your own dreams, you must constantly strive. All other things are a waste of time. The words of the principal made the awakened crowd become silent. The next job is to change the minds of parents. One parent whose child was expelled was extremely angry. She wanted Clark to give her a bitter explanation. Clark said that he was protecting the future of the remaining 2,700 students. That's why he was chasing out the problem students. Otherwise, parents could go to school and see how their children are stubborn. These statements maybe other parents have nothing to say, and he was also agreed with by countless parents. A student who was expelled from school came to find Clark. He was not a spoiled child, but was only affected by the surrounding damage. To survive, he had to act that way. He came to ask to return to school. He promised that from now on, he would work hard to study. Clark accepted him to return to school. Under the ingenious and strict leadership of Clark, this school gradually progressed. The students were able to sit quietly in the dining hall. No matter where he went, Clark always carried a bullhorn. Clark could remember a student's name quickly. He asked students to pay attention to how they dressed, to look like students. For those who dressed inappropriately, Clark immediately called them out, warned them in front of everyone, and punished them by making them sing the school song. Seeing that they did not know it, Clark made them memorize it. The music teacher was preparing songs for students for the exam. Clark stepped in, asking her to teach the song praising the school to the students. But she did not want to teach it, believing the individual students wouldn't care. This made Clark extremely angry, so he announced her dismissal immediately. In a chaotic situation, a special method is needed. The assertive actions of Clark made other teachers extremely dissatisfied, but they only dared to be angry, not speak out. One day, a hoodlum came into the school. Seeing that, Clark ran and quickly controlled the troublemaker. Concerned for the safety of his students, Clark decided to lock the school doors during the day. Many of the students are from single-parent families. There are many places in the United States where a 15-year-old girl has become a mother. One day, Clark saw that a student, Mia, had no place to return because her mother wanted to kick her out of the house. Clark and another teacher came to Mia's house. On the way, they met beggars. He helped within his ability. After learning that Mia's mother had no job and couldn't raise children, he understood. She only hoped that Mia could take care of herself one day. Clark promised that she would not kick Mia out of the house. He would find her work with a decent salary to help them change this miserable situation. Thanks to his help, Mia overcame her difficulties. In the evening, an inspector came to find Clark. The parent of the expelled student had reported him for locking the school doors, calling it an act of school violence. Clark said it was because the school was like that. Clark was very angry but also resigned. The next day, the press came to investigate, and countless journalists and reporters surrounded the school. Clark blocked them outside, holding a baseball bat, and said, "I am Crazy Joe, as crazy as they say." A student named V came to Clark saying school was not suitable for him, so he wanted to quit. Clark assessed this student very highly, but it was unfortunate. Clark said, "Leave school and you won't live a year." Everyone has their own helplessness. If you have the opportunity to do it again, everyone wants to be a good kid. Seeing students fighting in the toilet, Clark immediately forced them to sing the song praising the school. He discovered they had changed the lyrics. Clark went to find the teacher who changed the lyrics. She said that the lyrics were too dry before, so she changed the words to make it more interesting and easier to learn. Unexpectedly, Clark was extremely satisfied. Schools need to be innovative. There should be people who dare to take responsibility. He even made her the official music teacher. Hearing this, the students were extremely happy. The vice principal was like a robot, doing whatever only after asking Clark first. This did not satisfy Clark. He told her to think independently and solve problems. If a few things can't be done, then what use is keeping you? Clark loudly taught the vice principal a lesson to teach her what to do. The first basic skills test results had a pass rate of only 33%. The standard was still very far away. After school, he asked the teachers to focus on the football field. Clark decided that Sundays would be for classes. We must use other people's playtime to practice. The teacher said weekend teaching was impossible. They would have to convince each student's parent. But unexpectedly, the majority were very supportive. The students gave speeches. The teachers also worked directly with the students. Time passed too quickly. The final test was about to start. If this time the number of students meeting the requirements did not reach 75%, the reform would be considered a failure. Before the exam, Clark conducted a meeting. The children sitting here, regardless of white or dark skin, they are not poor students. Maybe it's because the environment they're studying in is not good. But if you try for these next few days, your future will definitely change. You must believe in yourselves and believe in the future. The sharing session made students and teachers extremely excited. The students then started the exam. While everyone was attentively doing their work, an inspection team came. They used the reason of fire prevention laws to interrupt. During a school council meeting, the parent of the expelled student learned of this and demanded answers from Clark in front of everyone. The result was that she was opposed by all the other parents. The mayor, because of the election, did not want to be guilty toward either side. He just sat on one side and said nothing. After finishing the exam, all the students came to the police station to ask the police to release their principal. The angry parent shouted loudly that these students had been brainwashed by Clark. Facing the woman who only knew how to preach morality, everyone stood up for him. Clark told the students to believe in the law and wait for the results. At this time, the vice principal arrived with the results. This time, for the basic skills exams, 2,700 students had passed. The state government would not take over this school. All students could continue to study according to the principal's method. The mayor was also reassured and left to campaign for his election. After that, he and the children sang the song praising the school. This is a film based on a true story. Society is constantly evolving. The people also need to improve. The starting point is not the same for everyone. Do what you like. It's okay to combine efforts. This movie is now ended. If you find it interesting, please leave your opinion in the comment section below for me to know. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Goodbye, and see you again in the next videos.